Okay, so I've decided I'm going to replace that outer wheelhouse on this left side here, but I wanted to start working on some other things. I went ahead and trimmed off the piece that was here so that I can, when it comes time to put the quarter on, I'm ready. I still need to trim out excuse me, the piece of metal in this drip rail, and of course around that door. But one other piece I was working on was this weather strip gutter. I showed you before how the other one looked so bad, and what I did is I'd cut this piece off. Let me get this out of the way here. I cut this piece off. This was what was left of the gutter and the weld points. You can see the backside where it's been cut through to where the deck filler piece will go. This panel up here, and the pieces that I got, the replacement pieces, which I ordered from ground up, ss396.com, they come in 3 pieces. So I have this piece, which is a replacement, and it's actually, as you can see, about that deep. Okay, so what I did is, and it gives you these holes, basically as alignment holes. So like I said, I cut off the bad part, and I'm just going to butt this underneath. I'll maybe do some plug welds or something up here to hold it in place. But I just wanted to show you that, and that's how I'm going to replace it. And then whenever I put the filler piece on here, this lip right here will sit down in here, and I'll be able to weld that on nice and solid. The other pieces come with it are these corner pieces. I may have shown you in an earlier video, but they will go here and lock in and connect to the quarter panel when it's in place. So just want to give you a heads up on that and how that's supposed to look. I'm going to make a little progress. I think what I'll probably end up doing too is ordering from that same SS396 is order these 2 pieces. I just don't like the way they look. They're heavily pitted. You can kind of see there maybe. But I just want to replace those as well and make this thing as solid as I can and make it look right. So that's where it's at. So I started cleaning up some of these other weld areas down here in this extension where they had just kind of tacked it on. I finished cleaning that up. Then I moved on to the outer wheelhouse. And to make this simple, I cut it off and left about maybe a ½ inch or so on this edge. The reason I did that is if I try to remove the whole wheelhouse, or the outer wheelhouse, separate from the inner wheelhouse, then I'll have to break into these pieces here. I don't want to do that. Same way here, this panel is on the outside of that lip. So by cutting it off like this and leaving that little bit of a lip there, I could take the new piece and trim it and set it right on top of this, or I can butt it, or I can come behind. It depends on how well it fits, and then I can just weld it on that edge and make it solid again. The one area where I'm not going to do that is up here where this strut piece comes down. There's a flange right here, and I cut around that flange, and of course around this strut piece, whatever it's called. What I'll do then is I'll cut probably in through here and match my lines, and then I will break the spot welds up underneath here and get this piece out, and that way it's not fighting me when I'm trying to put the new piece back in. The other thing I'll have to do is trim out the what's left of it here behind the rocker, and there's a big dent in the rocker. I'm going to have to cut that off and remake that, but I'll have to cut this piece out. Otherwise, I think the inner is fine. It seems pretty solid, so I'll be able to put the new outer wheelhouse in place and weld it in, and that should take care of that problem. Then of course, I'll do the rest of the fitment and make sure everything fits right so that it can all be welded together. I'm never quite sure if I'm getting anywhere on my projects or not. I feel like I'm so backed up with this stuff, but I'm going to keep plugging away. I showed you earlier about this the 68 Camaro, of course, you know, the wheelhouse and quarter panel and all these different pieces. But I did get these brackets, like I had said I was going to do. And I also cut out the bad metal that was here. And now this is a new piece is all welded in. And all I have left to do right now is I'll drill some holes along these edges so I can have some plug welds. And this will sit here, and you can see it lines up right on the money with the holes that are in the existing tail pan piece. And I'll also weld a plug weld right there, and that'll take care of this side. And then I'll finish up this other side here. Same piece, just do a little bit of prep work on this side and get this welded in, and that'll take care of those two pieces. Then I can move on to getting the wheelhouse and everything in place. So I made a little more progress. I have these bumper bracket supports in place, welded in. Just got to grind the welds down a little bit, but they look good. And then I moved on to the outer wheelhouse, and like I said, I cut this piece of metal out of here and I exposed the welds that were here, the spot welds, and I cut off the end of that rocker that was pretty beat up looking, and I'll remake that. But the one thing I think I showed you before, but I'll show you again, there was a hole, or a couple holes in the frame right here, frame rail. I think what it was somebody had probably welded a muffler bracket or something on here at one time, and rather than grind the welds, they decided just to break it out and left some holes in there. So what I did is I found some material the same thickness. It's actually some leftover material from a 72 Chevy project and floor pans, but the material is the same thickness. And I made a filler piece. And this is kind of one thing I do a lot of, is I take a little piece of scrap metal and I weld it onto the piece that I'm trying to fit into the hole. Because it's really hard to hold something up there and weld it, but with a little handle I can hold it right where I want it, weld it in place, and then break the handle off and grind the weld smooth. Just an easy way to do it. So that's a little tip for you. Once I get that done, I'll move on to the outer wheelhouse, making it fit, and go on from there. And here's the follow-up on that patch. I got it fitted in there and welded, blended it out, and I think it turned out pretty good. Follows the original shape, and I think that'll do just fine.